Welcome to the shuffle. This is episode 4? 5? Episode 4 or 5? I
I
don't
think
know.
it's four, but I don't know if three's gone out yet.
It should be. Yeah, you're right. It's episode 4. Welcome. Today we have my friend Joe.
Hello.
I have me. That's Dorian. And Drew. I put your name on the screen. I'm just going to go with Drewski's, okay?
Cool.
Is it with the S or without?
Without. That's just
Okay.
because of Twitch.
Right. See, I thought it was the opposite, so I'll fix it. But
Good.
yeah. We are back from a lovely Montreal Regional.
Well,
Some of us who didn't go, and some of us who did, and some of us who performed well, and some of us who got fucked.
and some of us who performed well and got fucked.
Mmm. Yes.
Ah,
Delicious.
The double threat.
Yes. But I want to start by talking about two things that kind of just hit the plate. One of them, very specifically, that I will pull up in a second on another screen. Did anyone get a chance to look at the thing that I know Drew did. Joe, did you see
I
the thing that I...
loosely saw it and had no idea what was going on. So
Okay.
I was like, we're probably going to discuss it on the podcast tonight. So
Yeah.
I'll wait for the podcast.
So basically, what you would see on screen right now, I'll just read it out so it's easier. Beginning with the Eternity Code booster set release, sneak peek events will now be called Premier Events, a brand new event series offering duelists a superior launch experience for all quarterly core booster releases. So quarterly means that there's only 4 sets coming out a year. And
Wasn't
these
that
are...
always the case?
I don't know, dude. I thought there were more, but I guess I thought there was like 5, but I guess we're only doing 4 a quarter or 4 a year. Duelists can purchase more packs of the new set than ever before, while sneak peeks limited duelists to just 5 boosters, which they mean packs. Premier events will include 5 packs with registration and give attendees the option to purchase additional packs while supplies last. Which before, I guess the context is you could only buy another set of 5, whereas now you can buy a pack for pack, like on top of the 5. So you could buy 7 if you wanted to. The promo card for each Premier event will be far more exclusive at a rate of 4 promos per Premier kit, which will also include 2 Premier mouse pads and not mats, as additional player support. This is where things get really complicated because we do not understand the definition of kit because it has not been used before.
Oh, I think I do know the definition of kit.
Do you throw it at us?
So when a store, for example, Game Nation, is registered as an official OTS store, this is my understanding. I could be wrong, but I'm call it 90% sure.
Sure.
When they tell Konami, hey, we're an OTS store, we want to run a sneak peek, they go, okay, here are your sneak peek packs. And so Game Nation will get these packs that are secluded. They are loose packs, they are not in boxes, and Ray's told to put them in 5s, and then he's given a little envelope with all the promos. And he puts them in with each of the 5.
So
With each of the 5 packs.
So the kit usually is 4 sets of that. Like when they order a kit, a kit is 4. It's either
I think
4 or
the kit's
2.
definitely got to be more than 4.
No, because it's that would make it 20 packs, right?
Yeah, a kit is definitely more than 20 packs. They just said it. Didn't they just say it's 4?
4 promos per kit, which
That's
but
what we
at
have
that
now. That's one.
yes.
That's one to one. What I'm saying is each store will only give out 4. That's the way I understand it in my first reading.
Oh.
Now, is it possible that a bigger store gets more than 1 kit?
No.
Yes.
Well,
To my possible as in my understanding of it.
yeah. That's why I'm saying, like, yeah. So the only thing is, it all comes down to that. One more point: the hosting OTS can choose to run their premier event in the format that best serves their community, whether it be tournament play, open dueling, or a mix of both. If the OTS chooses to host a tournament, the promo cards and mouse pads will be split between prizing and random giveaways to make sure competitive and casual attendees both get a chance.
So here's the thing I don't understand. If you're giving out 4 promos, that means the Game Nations of the world will get 4 cards in their kit. Let's pretend they only have 1 kit, right?
Yep.
As it is now, they get a separate envelope with the promos in it.
Mm-hmm.
That means if they're supposed to be randomly distributed amongst the 25 packs, the person giving out the packs would know which one has the promo in it.
Well, but it's
Unless
not.
they separately gave booster packs that had an extra card printed in them that would not be there in the main packs.
No, I feel like that's not it.
That doesn't make sense.
Because that'd be
So
like a
unless they're
premier
giving out
pack.
as prizing, or they're giving out as raffle, but that they're not random in the 25 pack.
Yeah, I think
I
it would have to be raffled off.
I think they would get it, but it'd be raffled or prizing or both.
Yeah.
Which is my confusion. Let's say
It can't
they
be
get one
random.
kit. Let's say they get one kit, right? They get four promos.
Yeah.
4 promos for one store. Let's say one store only has 10 players.
Yeah.
Let's say 2 are submitted in prizing and 2 are raffled away.
Yeah.
And then 1 mat is raffled away and 1 is with prizing. And that's
Yeah.
that's what you would do.
You know
And
what I'm
raffling
picturing
is
it
just
as?
like random.
Like, the more we talk about it, the more it makes sense to me. You know what this is?
Hmm.
This is the field centers from Yu-Gi-Oh! Day. That's exactly how this is getting structured.
I imagine.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
like
I wasn't certain
wha-
what like kit meant, but if kit means like their whole like the store's like, set to like hold the event, then yeah, this makes sense.
But my confusion is, who the fuck is ever gonna get more than 2 of this?
I know.
Yeah,
Like, what if
the
it's,
fact that
like,
they're selling
really
extra in
good?
The regionals doesn't make
And-
sense to me.
And what are the promos? Are the promos like just different rarities? Of
No,
certain
they're
cards, or
supposed to
new
be
cards?
they're supposed to be exclusively new cards. Like they're
Like-
exclusive cards. So like if
That
it's a
means
good
there's,
enough
like,
card,
very little, and it's a good enough card, it's gonna be super expensive.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
but
it's
then-
like to
yeah.
guarantee it, you like play the tourney and win. To non-guarantee it, you could be the freaking lucker and just like show up and win.
Yeah, but that being said, what if it's a card that you want a 3 of, you want a play set of? That's like 1 store per play set.
Yeah. No, I agree. It truly doesn't make any
That's,
sense. With
Yeah, but
Magic,
historically,
Interesting.
I can't think. I've been playing the game for a long time. Like, I think I went to my first pre-release when like Gateway got released. But I don't think I remember a promo ever being of competitive viability.
no, but that's
No.
what they're. But this one they
But
want
they're
it to
trying
be.
to do that. Yeah, they want to do that, which is crazy.
Did they say it's going to be a competitively viable card, or
Yeah.
because if it's just collector card, I love the idea.
No. They specifically, I'll find it somewhere, but they said it. They did say they want it to be a card that people will want in every sense of the word, and it won't just be a rarity bump.
Like,
It's
if
an
they did something
exclusive
stupid,
card.
like made a new Sky Striker link that was actually good.
Yeah. Good joke, Joe.
That'd
Good
be
joke.
nuts. Yeah, like literally, that'd be
joke.
nuts.
New Sky Striker link. Sky Striker.
Sky
There's a link
Striker.
version of Engage.
When this card
It's
is
engaged,
summoned,
but it's a hard once per turn.
when this card is summoned, add a card to your hand, and if you have more than one, if you have more than 3 Sky Striker cards
Draw
engraved, draw one.
Oh my god.
Oh my
Do you draw or add first?
Oh, you have to add first. That's the way Engage works.
At first.
Mm. Yo, I just found that World Chalice Guard Dragon Almar Duke card. Knew I had a few. Do you guys know what the card that is?
No.
Yes, that's the super poly target for links.
Yeah,
3 of
it's
them.
the triple link super poly target.
Oh, you found it? You messaged the group about that a while ago.
Yeah, they gave it to me at the event. I never ended up using it because I didn't play Spiral at all. Speaking of Montreal, feel free, Joe, to lead this part.
Okay, I will lead. So, backstory for the people listening at home. I don't know if we're actually going to name the podcast this. I
Throw it
don't
at
even
me.
remember what name I sent the group chat at this point. But yesterday night at like 12 or 1 a.m., I just messaged the group chat and said, hey, let's film a podcast right now and talk about what went wrong at Montreal and what went well at Montreal. Because Mark topped the event. You two were both gunning for your invites, and it didn't work out the way you wanted it. And then I'm sitting here. I didn't go to Montreal, but I've been to events. I didn't have my invite, and it's gut-wrenching to try to get it, especially when you don't have, like, for Drew, who hasn't gotten an invite yet, who's really playing his first competitive season now. It's gut-wrenching to try to get the first one. And I'm trying to think what I did differently between the first regional I ever got my invite and then when I got it this year, when I just got it at like the first regional I tried. I'm trying to think what was different, and I can't pick it off at the top of my head. So I messaged the group chat and said, let's have a podcast and discuss what went well and what didn't, and what we want to change and what we don't want to change, so that for other people trying at home, they can hear what we have to say as well, and maybe we can help them as well.
Yep.
And so we decided that last night at 12:30 was a little too late to record a potentially hour and a half long podcast, so we delayed it until tonight. And then Drew got his burrito, and now we're here.
Indeed.
How's your burrito, Drew?
Fantastic. It is great. Very fulfilling.
Drew. All right, Drew, I'm gonna hit you with it, okay?
Oh no.
Be concise. Start with. I want you to give me 2 impressions. Your impression as a person that hasn't traveled with a team before, although you might have traveled in other hobbies or games with a team and been to an event. But I want your like full on like what it was like to like be with friends in car for a long period, like overnight, and then like later, and then we'll talk about the competitive Yu-Gi-Oh part.
Okay, so I mean, traveling with a team, it was fun. I mean, it like you mentioned like traveling with teams for like hobbies and events before, and I've definitely done that. I've done the whole road trip bit. I used to compete in the Major League Gaming events for Halo, so this brought back a lot of those vibes. So a lot of the things I enjoy about that, just genuinely like hanging out with friends, and you know, obviously like preparing for an event that we're all going to be competing in. It was a lot of fun. Obviously, we're not directly representing each other as much because it's not a team thing. Even though I'm aware there are team events, but you know, in this case, it wasn't. It was a lot of fun. Just I liked hanging out with everyone. I like getting to know everyone better. Like I feel like I do know you guys, but like you know, on a little bit of a next level. So definitely fun to spend the time with everyone and just being able to theorize, practice, talk about things, have a second opinion before going into a tournament, especially from some like the really skilled players that we have on the team, at least compared to me, who is relatively new. I think that's like very, very, very valuable. So yeah, I mean, during the event, it's nice to have everyone, you know, chilling, talking, supporting. I know that even if I didn't do well to start, thankfully I did, but even if I didn't do well to start, you know, have people, you know, there to support you, make sure you don't go on tilt, which is really, really great. And then obviously after the event, just tons of fun to talk about things. And maybe if you're tilted after the event, which I might have been, you know, have folks to like just brush it off, you know, ease it off, listen to you, and then just move on and talk about the next event. So yeah.
Cool. I would agree with most of everything that you said. As particularly team captain, it's always nice attending the events where I can be a little bit more responsible for my friends and the team that I take care of, while also representing a brand in a more business aspect. So making sure that I meet people who come, because regionals are still like a giant gathering event where you will meet people that you see online all the time, posting in groups and in chats.
It's still a big event. Yep.
Yeah, so like it's nice to. I mean, I saw Mario, I saw Ruggles, I saw Sam. Those are people that you probably see a little bit more regular. If you haven't seen their content, I'm not gonna link it below, but maybe I'll flick it by on the screen in the edit. You should know Sam by now. If you don't know Team Samurai X1, I don't know why you're playing this game or listening to this podcast. But if you don't know him, he's probably the biggest creator in our demographic, or at least as our peer. Seeing friends, seeing people who are really good players, Jesse Cotton, Gabriel Vargas, Ryan Yu, Dragon Duelist World Champion, like people that play at events like this with you give you like a whole new reason to play the game or a new like motivation to play and to play better. And it's entirely different than just playing against people in a place that you've not been. And that's what's kind of cool about the event for me.
Yeah, the only thing I would have said, like, I guess in terms of like team wise, and I guess myself, I would have liked to network like a little bit more and get to know people.
Hmm.
But I mean, these gatherings are pretty regular, and the people that are going to them like regularly, like the very core members and leaders of the community, tend to go, I'd imagine, to many of these events if it's like any other game. So there'll be times in the future, but yeah.
I've noticed that the networking is easier to do if you know less people at the event. So, like,
Hmm.
if I go to Montreal Regionals, I'm spending 99% of the time with people I know well that I've played locals with. But, like,
Yep.
when I went to Virginia, there's 4 people I actually knew at that regional. And so when I sat with them, they were talking to everyone else that they knew. I went to that regional with Gabe and Jesse.
Hmm.
So I ended up meeting all the American guys because I wasn't going to go
True.
wander
Yeah, I see
off,
what you're
and
saying.
I was
Yep.
sitting with them, right? Um, so that's how I met a lot of people. But when you go to those regionals with a lot of your friends, like Toronto regionals, you're obviously seeing
Yeah.
all your friends. You're hanging out with your friends. You're not going to go walk up to people like, "Hey, how are you? I've never met you before." I mean, you could do it. It's just less likely because
It's
you
less
also want
likely
to see all your
because you have your
friends.
comfort zone, you got the people that you know already, rather than like, kind of meeting, being, I guess, not forced, but being more in the scenarios where you're talking with people, end up talking with people that you don't know as well, and then you meet people.
Yeah.
Hmm.
There's also like really random interactions, like when we went to Virginia, we were whatever hanging around, and it was me, Jesse, Assad, and Gabe.
Hmm.
And Jesse was staying at a friend's house, and there was like one more spot at the friend's house, so Assad went with him. So me and Gabe had to book a room, and this was booked well in advance. And by well in advance, I mean like a week in advance. And the only room we could get had 2 queen beds, so it was fine. And then the night of, Gabe gets a text, "Hey, Cody Angeloff needs a room. Can he come stay with us? He'll pay." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I met Cody Angeloff because he came to our hotel at like 2 a.m. and then stayed with us the night.
Hmm.
So like weird interactions like that happen too when you know less
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had that happen in the past. And you get to know people
Um,
better.
It's a good time that way.
Leading back to your original question, the pressure, especially in events like this, the pressure does seep a little bit more, where your focus is less on vending. I have to like push myself to be involved in like vending and business and like just brand awareness and like chatting with people because my dedicated like focus and care is all towards like the people playing around me, what's being played, my invite, the stakes of every like win and loss and misplay. The pressure is so much higher because you spent so much time preparing for this particular event as opposed to like locals and stuff and practice. It's so different. And so I
Yeah.
feel like the pressure is very high specifically at a regional regardless of where it is because I mean some take a little bit more. You feel it a lot more like going to Montreal or let's say Rochester coming up and other events where like we're traveling a little bit more and we're paying to stay somewhere as opposed to like Toronto. Let's say I wouldn't say the pressure is less, but I certainly don't feel as bad for not getting an invite in
You're
Toronto.
invested. You're less invested, right? You
Yeah,
paid in theory like $100 less to go to the Toronto Regional,
yeah,
and also you're closer to home, so it's slightly more comfortable.
yeah. So yeah, I completely feel that. Drew, did you feel any pressure specifically?
I mean, there's always going to be the pressure of like, I want to get my invite, and that's like the main goal.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess there's a small bit of pressure. I don't really feel the pressure so much in game and or from game to game. Maybe on my first match, and then once you get the nerves out, it's pretty smooth. Sometimes when it really gets down to the wire, I guess, like obviously naturally there's nerves, but um, no, I mean other than that, that's really it.
Do you have anything specific you want to talk about your like any interactions that were neat or anything that like I don't know if you want to talk about your judge thing or not. It's really up to you. Platform's open for you. I'm not going to restrict you on that, but
I mean, I guess if we're moving on to the competitive bit, my
mhm.
experience at this regional, having traveled to it, probably being not my first regional at this point, but first one that I've literally like put in a lot of time for. Like I know like I've think I've gone to locals like 4 times a week leading up to this,
Hmm.
or maybe more. I don't know. Like I definitely feel like I put in a lot of time. So under that basis, my first kind of regional going into that with that much, I guess, practice. Um, Pressure wise, again, a little bit of nerves, but once I won my first match, I didn't really feel much. It was like fine. Um, Again, kind of having some sort of experience in a competitive atmosphere. It's just take every game by game, one at a time. Just focus on the current game, current moment, and just I guess in this case the board, and the game state. Is kind of how I think of it, so I don't get so much pressure out like that. I just try and handle what's in front of me. Um, in terms of matchups, it went really well. I play heroes. That's the deck I foresee myself playing as long as I can. Um, the deck performed excellently. Um, I unfortunately lost one game against. It was invoked, which was round 5. I forget. It was invoked Mech Knight, so they made me go first. Unfortunately, I drew unplayable, which was 3 fusion spells, double Mally, or was it no mass change, which I consider a fusion spell. So mass change, 2 fusion spells, and double Mally, which just not much to play there, and then I get OTK'd. I won the next game because I made him go first, or yeah, made him go first, and then I OTK'd. And then game 3, I drew double increase and did what I could. But anytime you see double increase in a hero deck, you are almost certain that you've lost, especially against a going second OTK deck. Um, Oddly enough, my other loss was also to invoke Mech Knight invoked. And that time was because I got Nibiru'd and Ogred one game, Drooled and Ogred the next, which I cannot play through. So
Did you
again,
finish X2?
so my this brings me to my third loss, which I'll talk about in a second.
So for
Um,
context, let me just interrupt for context. This
yeah,
was a less than 200 person regional. For Montreal, it was the highest it's been, but still wasn't high enough. It was like 185 or something. So we're
yep.
looking at top 24 for invites. Break that down. That's like X2s. I think at like one
Maybe X2
X2
ones. There's
one.
2 X2 ones.
Yeah,
Only 2.
but yeah.
So I decks I beat, I guess, before I go into the last one, which I guess costed me my invite. I beat something like Rogue, 2 Geist, and Trap Tricks. I don't remember the first Rogue deck. Unless it was 2 Geist, Salad. I'm trying to think of everything.
I saw some
I know I
zombies.
faced.
I don't know if it was relevant.
Not me. No, I remember I faced. I beat a Salad. I beat 2 Geist. I think the Rogue deck was Trap Tricks.
Hmm.
I think that's what it was. Anyways, I beat those decks. A lot of back row. Um, Lightning Storm won me more games than I should win, and so that was nuts.
Do you have the full set?
Yep, I have 2. I only play 2 in the main. Just for back row hate, and then my deck I feel inherently at this point deals with back row very well. So the last game, I guess the one that that really hit the nail in the coffin for me, for obviously not getting my invite, finishing X3, was against Dinos. So they, I believe, forget if they won first or not, but anyways, they set up VFD, did the whole Lithosagem, however the hell you say it, Trish thing. I was able to, in whatever way, I don't particularly remember, play through this and live. To be honest, this player, not in any sort of offense, I don't think he knew the interactions or the deck well enough. Maybe he might have just picked it up because I was able to grind for much longer than I think I should have been. And I saw a potential way to win, so I stuck with it. And this was like, I want to say a 30 to 34 minute game 1. Like I said, I don't know how he let me live this long, but I saw a way to win, and I actually did break his board. I think what ended up happening was I had I had gotten my Miracle Fusion ripped late game, which is what I needed to push for a game. At some point, that was the pivotal moment. So I could have scooped then, and maybe I should have to save time on the clock. Um, but I didn't. Anyway, so going into game 2, I'm
You
down
won
one.
game one?
I lost. I lost.
Oh, okay.
I think I maybe should have scooped earlier, but I saw a way to win, and I thought I could break through, and like I said, I did. I lightning stormed. There's like a bunch of other stuff that made it last so long. But again, the pivotal moment was my Miracle Fusion got ripped, and I needed that. So, and I didn't scoop, which I should have scooped sooner. There was again, so about 7 minutes on the clock going, or 6 or 7 minutes on the clock going into game 2. I was literally shuffling as fast as I can. I don't think he realized. Maybe he did. I don't know, but realized how much time was left. So I think getting in, actually starting the game, there's about 5 minutes left on the clock. So I comboed off, which took a good amount of time. I knew that I couldn't really win in time that early on. So again, and I wasn't about to try to. So I then, made the best board that I possibly could, which did include me using a Hero Lives, which is going to be a point in the story. Passed it over, and basically what happened was we spent about 3 to 4 minutes, I want to say, debating on if you could use Dino Wrestler Pankratops under Desnero Plasma. The ruling, which I do know, is that you can. It, as long as you tribute it itself for cost and it resolves in the graveyard, and Plasma only negates effects on field. However, he was asking me if he could do that. Now, obviously, I am not allowed to lie, but I don't have to tell him rulings. I firmly believe that knowing your rulings and interactions with your deck is one of the biggest points of skill in this game. So that's your responsibility to know. I let him read my card. I told him it negates effects on the field, which is, I think, pretty key information if you can decipher that. But anyways, it ended up just being I want to say, like four-ish minute long debate on if he could do that or not. And he ended up settling with passing the turn back to me. Now, meanwhile, it wasn't just him debating this. It was him talking with his friends, or a group of friends, about if he could or not. And they were essentially telling him what to do, coaching him. At one point, they might have been, I think, speaking in French to each other as well, which was like a little much as too. But anyways, I politely asked, hey guys, if we can leave it for the end of the game, that'd be great. They did not do that. There was a judge floating around that didn't seem to say anything, and then he ended up asking a judge if he could use Dino Wrestler Pankratops under Plasma, which he told him he could, which was a little weird. I don't think you're allowed to. You're not supposed to say that as a judge, to my knowledge. Like,
You're not.
he could commit to the play. Like, if he committed to it and it was an illegal activation, then you would say something about it. But if he committed to it and it was good, you do it. You can't just ask. And again, that goes to me. That's a lot of the skill in the game. That's up to you to know. That is your responsibility. Now, going back to me, I pretty much had I think 5 seconds on the clock or something like that. Basically, I had to say draw phase, standby phase, main phase, battle phase, just as soon as I could. At this point, due to the nature of the time, the commotion, I did not take into account that I had activated Hero Lives and the cost for such. Now, so what I did essentially was, again, after continued debating from outside crowd and his group of friends, I did put down damage, and I extended a handshake and said, that's game. Like, is that game? I win? And he's, shook, said yes. And I said, all right, that's a draw. We're signing the slips and everything. We've packed up all our cards. And basically what happened was one of his friends came up after and said, no, I'm not letting you get a draw for that because he activated Hero Lives, and that's you won the game. Now, I'm not opposed to that, and I totally understand that. I will say, first and foremost, that it is my responsibility to keep track of life points and call a judge sooner. To me, again, being someone that has never experienced dealing with something like that, I did not. I just wanted to get the battle phase as fast as possible. I didn't realize or know about time rules and the way time extensions work, etc. And interactions with the judge is just not something I've ever been through, no matter what.
By the
Um,
way, it's not just your responsibility to keep life. He's equally as responsible for your life.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's both of you.
yeah, and that was gonna be my counterpoint. I'm just like I want to try and take advantage or take responsibility for I guess what I
Hmm.
could have done better.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
But like you said, that's for both of us. And if I extend handshake and say, that is that game, do I win? Like, is that it? And you agree on that and you shake on it, then that's, to my knowledge, that's the outcome of the game. That is like an accepted game state.
Hmm.
Because I could have put down
Did he
4K.
sign the paper?
Yes.
Oh, then yeah, hard accepted
I
game state.
I believe so. I believe so. Anyways, I'm not sure. I don't remember clear enough. My point being is that yeah, I don't remember that. I don't remember.
If the cards were packed, it's probably an
Yeah,
accepted game state.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. The cards were packed. The thing is, I could have put that 4K down. I just poked for damage instead. All right, is it game?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. Like, and then afterwards he says, after this whole fiasco, and I say I want to escalate it to head judge, he says like, oh, no matter what, it was a good game, and it was just a crazy game. I'm like trying to like making me feel better. And I'm like, I already know how this is gonna go. Um, but I guess to my point is that what sucks is that I could have put down 4K very easily with the board that I had, and I was under the impression that it was all good, and then it was essentially, we would have had more time even in the game itself hadn't it had been for his friends, and by the time this was escalated, firstly, my interaction with the judges was very clean, very concise. However, the head judge did not directly listen to my story, which I disliked. That means there's like broken telephone that can happen. I want him to directly hear my story. Apparently, I was allowed to have witnesses, which I was not informed of at all. And I, there was at the time when we were talking about this, to my knowledge, we could not point out, um, his friends that were nearby, which I think they said they could not prove that they were his friends. So that tells me that maybe he denied that and said there was inconsistencies in the stories. Basically, it was ruled against me because Activated Hero lives, and apparently that was the only thing that we had agreed on in our stories. I did dislike that I was also taken separately, like into a back room when I was like, this was almost like police.
Oh, they do that. That's the thing they do.
But the thing is, the reason I didn't like that was because they asked me to point out the judge that was, or the judge that was nearby, or the official that was nearby, and I mean, like, I couldn't think of it. But as soon as I left, I'm like, I could have pointed the guy out. Like, I'm like, it was that guy. So, like, I don't know. Anyways, it was just a weird. I've never dealt with something like that in my life, and
Yeah, that's
that's
strange.
not
Does
to
that
say
last
that
round too?
second last.
Second last.
Yeah, that sucks.
So, I mean, I'm not saying that I would have gotten my invite because I would have been X2-1, so I would have been just on the cusp. According to friends, apparently I had really good tiebreakers, but I don't know. Um, like even with the outcome, I could have maybe still not gotten my invite. So what are you gonna do, especially at a small regional like that?
Hmm.
Yeah.
But it was still just a very confusing, what I felt was a little disorganized resolution or steps they took, or the process was very disorganized.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah, but that was Montreal for me.
Are you gonna keep playing your deck?
We'll see. I mean, the thing is I like how my deck performs. It's definitely not. It's not doing anything wrong.
Hmm.
I mean, sure, I did open. I lost a game from opening unplayable, which kind of
That'll happen in
sucks.
every deck, though.
But exactly, I like that. I feel like that happens. That's just you just don't control that, So I'm not upset about that. Deck's been performing really, really well. The concerning parts about my deck, Heroes, is that it's obviously a glass cannon and it's weak to everything that Spiral and Luna, which are very popular combo decks, are weak to. In fact, I probably lose harder to those things than those decks. What compels me about the deck is obviously I know what I feel like every little bit about it. I've been playing this literally the only deck in the existence of competitive Yu-Gi-Oh that I've ever played. So I like to believe that I know a lot of the interactions and combos, etc. The thing is just like losing hard to everything that those decks lose to is concerning because it just means I'm going to have a hard time. It's just like the pressure in a regional for me playing this deck is like making my play, knowing that it's right, and then like it feels like a Hail Mary. When I say it's your turn, I'm like, am I gonna get a beard? Or like I say increase, am I gonna get hit? Like, am I gonna get DD crowed? And I guess that's inherent for every combo deck, but sometimes it really does feel like a Hail Mary with this deck. Whereas though, if it does go through, I usually win because what I absolutely love about this deck is that it counters so much of the meta. It just Dark Law and Plasma are just like landing on 2 Dark Laws is just incredibly good in my opinion.
Yeah,
So
I have firsthand knowledge of 2 Dark Laws being a serious Rooney Dooney to deal with.
yeah. So, and especially just having the OTK power to just follow up and say, all right, that's game. It's just, I think that
Trinity and
next.
4 summons.
Yep. I am debating playing Luna. I've picked up a Luna core. I'm going to try it. Going to see how it goes. What I'm scared of in this format is if it does develop and people try to be, if the decks the decks to beat are Luna and Spiral more importantly, and people are running those like cards that kill those decks, and so much so that they're killing killing my deck even worse, and it's getting to a point where I don't even feel like I can play effectively, and then I would debate swapping to sure still a combo deck that kind of loses to those things, but at least I'll be able to hopefully have some more follow up and a little bit more steam with those. I guess conversely, the fear is with picking up a new deck is learning it in time and knowing the intricacies like I know with Heroes. And on top of that, playing a new deck, putting that time and losing to the same things anyways, which would kind of suck. But we'll see.
Test it out, play online, see what happens.
Yeah, I'm trying to learn it. I don't know. For me, I don't know if this is how you guys are either. Like I've said this before, obviously privately when we're chilling, but when I play online, I feel like my focus level is just not the same as when I'm like playing with the cards or like I don't learn combos as I don't know. There's something about for me having the cards like tangibly with me and being able to just lay them out. Like this is how I learned like the hero combos. It's just I just keep drawing, gimmick hands or just like sample hands and comboing off with them. And like obviously I watch videos, like what combos I can go where, but just constantly doing that. And I like being able to just have the cards in front of me. There's something about it to me that just makes it easier. So I ordered it regardless. It wasn't expensive. I had a lot of the expensive cards already.
So I practiced against purely meta all the way up until the event. I was playing Grand Maju, Danger Grand Maju to be specific, the One Punch himself. I even picked up my third ulti Desires because I love the deck so much. I actually love playing the deck. I love tweaking it. I loved figuring out ratios and what level 8s worked better and what didn't. I love trying to figure out different super poly targets, preparing to play hand traps, to preparing to play called, dealing with purely meta only. And I didn't see a single meta relevant deck in my 8 rounds. I played 8 rounds and I didn't play Spiral. I didn't play Altergeist. I didn't even play Draco. I didn't play Salad.
What were your matchups?
So I played 2 BAs, which are not meta.
Interesting.
First round, I lost to BA because the judge said, "What are you guys doing?" when time was called, and he said, "I don't know if I can do it." And I said, "Okay," and I extended the handshake, and he said, "I think I can burn for a game." I said, "Crap." Because he's playing BA, nice. So he just has to Barbar or Gallus. So he just couldn't figure it out, and the judge let him do it, obviously. And then I got burned for my first round. Then I believe I played Zombie. Just straight up just zombies. I beat that.
That is odd.
So then I was 1-1. And then I went back up and I played an Invoked Magnite. Ironically, very, 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 very close game. Now, my discovery throughout most of this is that I am pleading with Konami to make a goddamn light super poly target. I don't understand.
Elemental Hero The Shining.
But is it generic?
No.
Yeah, that's what I mean, right? Yeah.
Post.
So god damn, dude. It's that or like I expect to play Invoked Mech Knight and just like play an Invoked card, like the big Elysium one, which is fine. That's totally fine. I definitely played some cards I definitely didn't use, so I'm okay with that. But like I haven't seen Invoked Mech Knight in months, maybe a year. Definitely didn't expect it. Expected more dinos than anything else. I prepared to lose against King Caliuga. I prepared to get VFD'd. I didn't play against any dinosaurs either. I didn't play against a mirror match either. Like, that was fine. So game 1 was fine. He killed me. Game 2, I swung for... No, yeah, I did. I did for Drolls. We played a very grindy game 2 where I inevitably banished 33 cards and attacked for over 12,000 over a Mech Knight. Yeah, and that was really close. We went into like the last game with like, I don't know, like 10, 15 minutes, less than 15 minutes, and he was just able to put damage on me like faster than I could protect myself. Common Brick Hands are opening triple Grand Maju. Don't know why it happens, but it does. Triple Grand Maju with no other cards. Not even getting sniped. I didn't really complain about the dangers too much. I didn't feel bad about the RNG for the deck. I stopped playing dangers, specifically the Danger Thunder combo or any kind of dragon combo with the dangers, because like I felt like I just had really bad RNG luck with the dangers.
Yeah, you do.
It happens in practice still. Like Joe knows, every time we play, he snipes 2 dangers out of my 3 danger hand, and I'm just like negging.
Well, there was that one locals we went to where it was literally the 3 of us, and that was
Mhm.
it at the locals. And then I think Jesse joined with like Corbin's light Sorn deck, and then dropped, and then someone else came in. But literally the only reason I beat you is because I sniped 3 dangers in a row, and then I get 20 credit because of it.
Yep. So the meta shifted between when I picked up the deck and when I practiced it. I decided to play this deck way before Droll came back into the meta. So it was super unfortunate for me to play into Droll. Then I had to start playing Called. I didn't have the money to buy Lightning Storm, even though I really wanted to. And so I was deciding between a bunch of back row decks and dinosaurs and that deck. But going further, after that Mech Knight situation where he also played Droll, I played against... I was then X2? Yeah, I was then X2 by round 3 or 4. 3, I think. I played a zombie guy that I beat in 3 minutes. Like, all 3 games in 3 minutes.
It went to game 3?
Huh? Oh yeah, I guess not 3 games. Not 3 games. 2 games in 3 minutes.
2 games, 3 minutes. Yep.
2 games in 3 minutes. And I'll tell you the funniest thing ever. For the first game, no, I think it was 3 games. It was 3 games because the first game I thought I lost to my own misplay. To both of us. Both of us thought he won for some disgusting broken ass shit. What does Necro Valley do? Sorry, what does Zombie World do?
Turns everything to zombies.
And what does Rivalry do?
Only one type of monster?
Yeah, so I thought it was there can only be one. Like, just like he did too, and I sent everything. Like, I was Boral sorting him for a game, and he flipped it, and I sent everything, and was like, I don't have a way out of this. So then I just, like, killed him game 2, and then he did the same thing in game 3, and then I was like, wait, you didn't flip this before Zombie World. You flipped this after. Everything is a zombie. I just kill you here. And he's like, oh, you're right. And I'm like, yeah, I just attack for a game, and you're dead. Like, everything's a zombie. It doesn't matter. As soon as the danger hits the field, it's a fucking zombie. So, with all that in mind, I still beat him in 3 minutes. And that's why it was 3 games. It was definitely 3 games. Then he was like... I felt bad for him. Because I slapped him so fucking quick. Then he was like, oh, do you want to like keep playing? And I was like, sure, dude. Sign the sheet. And I'll keep playing against you in this stupid deck. And like around me, to my right, was playing Stun Grand Maju. And he was laughing at how fast I killed the dude, and he was grinding his game out. And then to my left was a better zombie player than the guy I was facing, who played his deck much better than the guy I played. So we were just basking in the glory of the variance of our decks.
Hilarious.
Then I played another guy.
The judgment. Sorry, Drew. The judgment you sent me is a battle pack judgment.
Got it.
Yeah, the code on the bottom is BPO1.
That makes more sense.
I don't know what that means.
It just
Battle
means
Pack
it's an
1.
exclusive print.
It was an
Yeah.
old set that was meant for
Like
drafting.
I know what battle packs are, but I didn't realize that comes in it or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah. Sorry, go on,
So-
Dorian.
Staples the cheapest possible.
Yeah.
Go on.
So then I played a guy I knew who used to play Salad, but was playing BA.
Who was it?
Just like I don't remember his name right now, but we're friends on Facebook. Shouts out to you. You know who you are. He
You go,
earlier when I played the BA guy, he was sitting on the opposite side of the table beside my opponent and was laughing because his opponent at the time was a True Draco Mystic Mind player who was beside me, and I was basking in the fact that he loved playing that deck. And the BA guy that I know that I ended up playing in my round,
Yeah.
like in the 4th round, was so frustrated because he wasn't playing me, but he was still playing Draco because I always used to fucking slap him with Draco, and it was hilarious.
That's funny.
So he was super frustrated by that. So then we ended up playing because even at the end, he's like, "Oh," at the end of the first round, he's like, "Thank God it's not us together." And I'm like, "Dude, you cursed it. Like now we're gonna play each other." 4th round comes along, I literally play him, and I'm like, "Oh, sick." So we both know what each other are playing, but like BA Block Dragon is just bricky as fuck, and like I'm just like learning that Dante can do whatever he wants, regardless of how many hand traps you throw at him. So
Please tell me
so-
you didn't ash Dante or something.
no, I didn't ash him. I just like tried to like pop him or something. I had to do something. And like it's complicated.
It's not even a once per turn.
Yeah, it's the complication with Dante that a lot of people don't realize, especially against Gurmaju, is that like your best card in the deck, aside from Pot of Desires, is Gizmek, and Gizmek Orochi is 2450, and can't attack over most things.
Yeah.
So like when you summon it, it's just like there's no way to gain. It just doesn't do anything. I can't kill the Dante, so it takes forever. Yeah, it takes forever, but I do it. I inevitably beat him, and you know it's whatever. Then what is that? Round 4?
That was
round
round 5, I think.
No, that's definitely round 4. So then round 5. Oh, one of the rounds. Oh, that was round 5. So then I go round. Yeah. So then I go round 6, and I get a free win because my opponent doesn't show up. So some Dino player sits down. Who's standing there watching his friend play, and he's like, "Hey, can you want to play?" And I was like, "Sure, dude. Fuck it. I'm wasting any time. I'll play." So we play for fun, and I get to play Dinos, and I waxed him, and I was like, "This is great. That means if I beat Dinos now, I can beat Dinos anytime." My second to last round, I go against someone playing Mystic Mine. And let me explain to you the ridiculousness that happens in this Mystic Mine match, okay? Not only does it go to time, not only do I not win, okay? This is my 3rd loss. But I lose in the most stupid the stupidest way I've ever heard in my entire life, okay? And you guys are about to be mind freaking blown. There is a card that exists right now that's called Luck Draw. Okay? This card is called
I
Luck
know
Draw.
the picture. I don't know what it does.
It's literally Yugi's hand. I don't know if it's called Luck Draw. I forgot what it's called. It's called.
I think it is Luck Draw. Let me check.
Is it
Well, I
Luck
TCG player didn't. It didn't come up. Draw.
Is it Draw of Destiny?
Luck of the Draw.
Luck of the Draw.
Draw of Fate? Something like that?
Oh no, wait, this is a custom card.
No.
I think it's Draw of Destiny. Gotta be
Draw
Draw
Is
of
it Lucky Chance?
I'm gonna try Draw of Fate. Draw of Fate. It's Draw of Fate.
Yeah, Draw of Fate. Yeah, it's the one with Yugi holding the Exodia.
Yeah. So if your life points are lower than your opponent's, which I did hit him. Right? He didn't die. I didn't know decay him. I hit him. He had 800 life left. Okay. If your life points are lower than your opponent's and your opponent controls a monster with the highest stack on the field, obviously because it's Grand Maju, reveal 3 cards with different names from your deck and place them on the top of your deck in random order, then draw 1. He stacks 3 pieces of Exodia. He draws 1. Okay? Not a big deal. This is turn, 2 for him. I'm going to kill him. I can't attack him because he Mystic Minds at this point. He activates Extravagance on his turn. He draws 2. I look down and I'm thinking in my hand. And then I look up and his hand is on the field. And I'm like, oh, and I look away immediately because I'm like, oh, I'm not going to cheat. I don't want to look at your hand. You dropped your hand. Obviously something went wrong. There's 5 pieces of Exodia on the field.
So he opened the other 2 pieces.
He opened 2 pieces, stacked 3, drew 3 over 2 turns. and I got obliterated.
Literally, you got anime like the anime.
Yeah,
You just got
He did the
anime.
whole like Yugi
Fuck.
draw and everything. That's hilarious.
I was like, wow. And then I turned. First thing I said, I'm like, he's like, yeah, that's cool, right? I'm like, I don't even know what to side. Like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do because I'm like, this is your only win condition. And then we're chatting and like we're kind of like I'm vibing it up because it's funny as hell.
Have
Right?
you like that was game 3?
That was game one.
That was game 1. Okay.
So then I go into game two and I just kill him. I just literally like I obliterate him reverse. I just kill him like 8K straight like super poly combo like battle phase. Nothing. He doesn't open the mine. He can't stop me. And I'm like, okay, game 3. I have never played a longer game in my entire fucking life, dude. So now we're at like 15 minutes, and I'm doing the thing where he puts mine up. I know his win condition is Exodia. He makes me go first. I put up something. I don't even remember what it is. I don't play a monster or anything because I assume that if he mines, it's gonna get destroyed. But he plays Field Barrier, so it doesn't destroy itself. So when he activates mine, it stays, even if we don't have any monsters. Okay? So now I can't activate monster effects. Then he activates the stacker spell, the magician girl, and he's stacking. And like the fun part about like the last 2 games is that when he does this, he stacks. But I play trade in, right? And I play like my monster effects can't activate, so my dangers can't get their discard effect. But I can dig. So like I'm digging, and like he's stacking trade in on top and putting twin at the bottom. And like a popular PPG match that we witnessed recently, unlucky for the other player, he actually had 3 twins stacked and scooped before he drew his card like an idiot. He would stack trade in on top, and I would keep all my dangers in hand, and I would use the trade-ins and the discard fodder to like clean through my deck to get the twins. But I didn't play Raid Shadow Legends, and I didn't play Cosmics, so I only really had like 3 twins in deck. And even when I could, he puts on like counters of protection on the field spell. So like he really like the only way for me to do it is like to evenly him. And even then he just keeps the mine. So it's very complicated, and we're playing for so long that I go down to like 4 cards. And I'm trying to deck him out, but I can't because I'm drawing additionally. And then time is called. And I'm like, okay, so it's your turn. We haven't dealt damage. Because he mined. Like, and I didn't get a battle phase. And I couldn't pop it. So I'm like, what are we doing? Because if we draw, this doesn't help either of us. We're both X2. And he's like, well, I want to keep playing. And I'm like, I'm not even talking about this. I'm just saying, like, what are we, like, is this a draw? Like, what are we agreeing to right now? And I'm like, do you know what's happening? And he's like, well, this is my first regional. What do we do? And I'm like, what do you mean this is your first regional? I'm like, how am I getting animated like this? And I'm like, please, just like, okay, so then we agree to draw. And he's like, yes. And I'm like, fuck. So then that's how I lost my invite. I ended up playing the last round. Did I play someone that I knew? No. I ended up winning the last round. Oh, no, I ended up losing. I ended up losing somewhere in between.
I gotta ask. I really do because.
Oh, I
this
lost
is
the
my
Cyber
second
Dragons at the end.
regional.
Of
Mhm.
course you
Okay.
did.
I gotta ask because this is my second regional. Why do so many people play Mystic Mine? And furthermore, why do people play it for their first regional? Because this is my school of thought. My deck might not be the best, but I wholeheartedly believe I can top with it. Do
Okay, so
people- I mean, I'm
so-
not trying to be offensive. Does anyone think you can top with Mystic Mine?
they
Yes,
can and they
because
have.
people
Yeah, like that's the
Here's
problem.
the problem with
But-
Mystic Mine is if you're not a good player and you don't want to invest time into the game. Sorry, you can be a good player and play Mystic Mine. The problem is if you don't want to invest time into the game, you need to learn exactly 0 interactions to play Mystic Mine. All you have to do is show up and play Solitaire. And if you don't get paired up against a Draco player, there is a 1 in 5 chance you get your invite.
Mhm.
And if
Absolutely.
you gave any of those players with equal amount of preparation the hero deck or any other deck in the meta that has even come close to getting an invite, there's just 0 chance. Because
Mhm.
every other deck takes at least, call it 10 hours of practice to be able to pilot to a capacity that you can, without luck, win 6 out of 8 rounds of a regional.
But I mean, okay, but at that point, if you're going to a regional with the intention of getting an invite, like you want to get an invite without investing time in the game,
No,
isn't
like
that counterintuitive?
So I agree. Even in this case with this dude, I don't think he even cared about the invite. I think he was just like, yeah, this is cool and funny, and I'm here with my friends, so I'm gonna play this deck. Like to them, it's just a bigger locals, and like he was local. He wasn't like
Got it.
from afar, right? So like
Yeah.
to them,
And
it's
I
like
assume most people are. Yeah.
yeah. So like you have that moment where you have people that do play it. So like it's a 50-50 in that sense, right? Like he very obviously wanted to win exactly the way he won. I think I was the only person that was Exodiad that he played all day,
So yeah, I
right?
guess so, but
But the other
I
thing
am
is,
not trying to say like whatever you think is fun, like props to you. Like whatever you think is fun, go for it.
No, there's a guy who top 16 the PPG, like an older guy. And some people just like maybe like again, I'm not being ageist here. He's a much older person. Another player I know who is older who doesn't maybe have the time or the attention to pay attention to most details is playing a version of Mystic Mine that truly is just like a counter trap, protect my condition and burn you, right? And like mine is just the new burn, realistically. So in a lot of
Yep. And I
senses,
feel
like
that
I was
makes
just
it more
surprised this
viable.
guy. Yeah, I mean, like the problem is like regularly, if it was just trap burn, it'd be fine. But the fact that this spell lives for a lot longer and there are older spells that protect it from literally doing what it does in a mechanic is like obviously overlooked, right? Like Field Barrier specifically prevents the card from doing its conditional check because it checks its condition and can't be destroyed. So like that alone is just like deserves the ban because the card is balanced. The card does what it's supposed to do. If you don't do anything, the card kills itself. It literally
Yeah.
kills itself. But like there is another card that's ridiculously old that allows it, that is not searchable obviously, that allows it to get you the field spell and then protect it from its own condition, which is a little
Right.
ridiculous.
hey, you said
Yeah.
something wrong. Field barrier is searchable. Anything is searchable with gold sarcophagus.
Oh my god. Yeah, 2 turns.
What was that other
Um,
card? Like different dimension capsule. It was gold sarcophagus, but different dimension capsule stayed on the field, and if you MST'd it, you didn't get the card back.
yeah, it just stayed banished.
That's funny.
Um,
I mean,
But
I
yeah.
guess so. To me, like, I just have an issue with games or in games with like, and not to knock on anyone, but with decks or mechanics, I'll say that are meant to have a lower, what is it, higher skill floor, so like just like easier to use,
Mhm.
but like low skill ceiling as well. Like I don't know, like you don't have
It
to
has
put
a
much
lower
time
ceiling
into
and it has a lower
Higher-
floor. Straight
yeah,
up.
lower floor. That's it. I always get confused. Like lower floor, yeah. Yeah,
It's
it just
easy
like
to pick up and it's not hard to master. Lower ceiling, lower floor.
exactly. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, like
But
I just like that. There's things that you could viably take games off of people with having again like very little commitment. I feel like that tarnishes the skill gap a little bit. In my opinion.
Just so we're clear, like remember the fact that people got invites to Worlds playing 6 copies of Mystic Mine in their main deck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like Jesse Cotton, and Dylan Fricker, who top Nats, 3 Mystic Mine, 3 Metaverse, and that was part of the striker strategy because it just shut down the Thunder deck. If you opened any 2 of those, you just beat the Thunder deck.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. I'm like I said, I'm gonna say I'm not a fan of mechanics that allow you to win without having much time committed. Like
Sure.
much
I mean,
investment.
me neither.
Yeah. That's what
I think
don't
a lot
know.
of the
It's
player
just
base is
interesting.
frustrated with Mystic Mine.
Yeah. It's
I don't know how it survived that
very
long.
interesting. I am either, but that to me, I look at that and think, all right, this is a conscious decision then for those reasons. Let's have a deck that takes, not, like you don't need you don't need to know a lot of interactions. You don't have to put too many hours in, but against, in the right scenario, you have a fighting chance of winning.
This also
Right.
happened. It happens
So-
in a lot of formats, especially like in well-defined formats. you see these decks come up a lot. So in zoo format, like peak zoo format, Chamberlain was a deck because as good as zoo was, it wasn't that good at killing people super quick. I mean, it was at first because it was an OTK, but after they banned the OTK, or after they limited the OTK because it relied on Kaiju Slumber, that's what that card's limited.
Mm.
Yep.
After they limited that, Chainburn became a deck because Zodiac just couldn't kill that fast. But it happens a lot. Now, Mystic Mine was just a poorly designed card. Like, I don't know why they did it. But if it's there, like,
I feel like that in that case though, you're exploiting a weakness of the deck rather than just like I have a card that's like you don't get to really play much against me.
It's supposed to be a
Potentially, I don't know,
Saki.
depends on what you draw, obviously.
I think it's supposed to be a Saki like, oh, they made an unbreakable board. This allows me to play. It was supposed to be that. Like,
And
what was the other field spell
I
that did that?
recognize about it. It's interesting, like, and I think that's actually like really cool. But like the way that it's actually used in many cases is much different.
Yeah, for sure.
I actually think that intention of the card is really cool. I think that like in that way it's like wow that's really interesting. But like it ends up just being used as a stall mechanic.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It also forces you to have main deck back row hate.
Yep.
That's not monster based, right? And that's really annoying because if you want, like a lot of the decks, historically, the best deck of the format is a combo deck. Recent memory, call it. Right? And so if you're not main decking back row hate, because believe it or not, back row hate's not good against combo Thunder, then you're just screwed if you play a Mystic Mind player.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I mean, like, look at my deck. So heroes, I would prefer not to main deck back row hate of any sort, especially when back then going second was the build that I was running. Just to try an OTK. And, like, I mean, the thing is, a lot of the time is you can just side in back row hate and then you can usually win. But I got incredibly unlucky and lost to Mystic Mind, like, numerous times in a row from not seeing my sides.
Yeah.
And losing the first game because I don't have that main deck back row hate. The argument for me was like, you know, and for many it's like Stratos kind of like does your back row hate to a degree. So you don't have to care so much about it. But then like, you know, with Mystic Mine, you can't use monster effects. And that is why I never will not have back row hate in my deck.
Think about Salad in that format. Like Salad has, at that format, had 3 main deck and 3 extra deck options to pop back row. They had Foxies, they have Heatleos, and they have
Rage.
Phoenix.
Yep.
And they had Rage. Thank you. Completely forgot about Rage. Not to mention Roar.
Yeah, Rage. The Rage was what I would think that you would get over Mystic Mine with, you know?
Yeah, so that's usually what happens. Right? That's why there's no Salad player that's ever taking Rage out of their deck, because if nothing else, it's a hard out to Mystic Mine.
It literally hits everything.
But you still have to play back row hate, because if you got hit with that one card, you just lost.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was other degenerate shit with that
and
card.
stuff like that.
This was maybe my favorite thing I've ever done, or it's been my favorite thing at locals recently. It's probably happened a month or 2 ago. I was playing a Mystic Mind player, was playing some DD card that when you summon it goes to your opponent, and it's an activated effect. So my opponent would summon this card and then go activate effect to like send it to my side of the field, and I was like, okay. And the first time I let it happen, he proceeded to activate Mystic Mine, and then he had no monsters, and I had 1, and I had no way of getting it off the field. So I just lost that game.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like a month later, another person does it to me, and when he does it, I had Veiler in hand, so I just Veiler the activated effect, and he goes, pass turn, and then I just waxed it.
That's hilarious.
And so then, post side, I kept in Veilers, and I kept in Imperms, specifically so that if he summons that one card, I can Veiler / Imperm it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's very interesting. Well, anyways, that deck exists, and it persists to be at regionals that I go to.
Yeah.
From what I've experienced. So for that reason, back row hate will never ever leave my deck when I'm going to a regional.
Yeah, regional.
Oh, I did. I remember my third loss. I skipped one. There's a 5-6. before the after the free win I got from nobody showing up, it was the grindiest game I ever played against an Orcust player. Still playing Orcust,
Interesting.
Yikes, dude.
like
Yeah,
pure
that can
Orcust.
actually like I don't think it's as inconsistent, but it can actually make some like somewhat decent boards still. I don't think it's as good as the
Yeah,
others, but like,
Dingirsu. Guess that counted
Search
crap.
on the gate.
um, it was okay. It was super grindy. He was also a returning player. No, he wasn't. He told me he played for the last 16 years of his life.
jeez, that's a
That's what it
long
was.
time.
I thought
That
he
is
was a returning
crazy.
player. He wasn't. And he's
That is
like, yeah, I've been playing for
2004.
like 16 years. And I was like, what? And I'm
That's
like, you're playing
nuts.
this? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Super grindy
Probably
game.
invested in it last format.
Mm-hmm. Very complicated. Very complicated matchup. But I was X3 then. And then I took the X1. Sorry, I took the tie. I took the draw after the X3.
Ah,
That's why. It was a seal of fate for me. I knew I was already X3, so it didn't really matter much, but
you're still playing it out, Okasu.
yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was pretty much it. Will I still keep playing Grand Maju? I don't know. I really like the deck. I think it's cool. I think until I bump some cards or play it in a viable meta where I'm playing against like breaking boards on Spiral and Salad and like all those other decks, absolutely fun, hilarious shit. Breaking boards on BA and zombies and Invoke Mekk-Knight, I don't know. Like, it's just I wasn't prepared, and it's hard to say that because I prepared so much. Like, I practiced so much for that event, and I just didn't play. I wanted to play Spiral so badly that I was just like praying to play against a Spiral player who wasn't doing well, and I could just clip him out. But nope, not even a Salad player. Couldn't even
That's the
use
thing
my
with the
main deck Kaiju's.
regionals. I really do feel like it's just so much. There's actually like not a whole ton of meta. It feels like it's
Well,
so like
there was that suspicion that I have,
many
right,
random
about
decks.
the winners bracket and losers bracket. That if you lose within
Yeah.
the first two rounds, like you enter this like cesspool of non-meta. But if you win your first two
Cesspool.
rounds, if you win your first two rounds, even if you're winning up, like you're playing against people who are generically also winning and they're playing the better decks, unless you play like a random person. Like in the Toronto Regional, I was X1 round 6 and um I played against another Mystic Mind player who hadn't known what any of the two Draco cards did. So like
Oh, poor
you
guy.
never know.
Oh, no.
Sometimes yeah, it was actually horrible. But yeah. He would like dark bribe something and I would draw and I'd be like, "Bro."
Yikes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um
speaking about Mystic Mine, another interaction, not interaction, random story. Drew,
mhm.
you asked why people would play Mystic Mine. I don't know if it was Mega Capital G or Asian Eyes White Dragon, but this was like 3, 4 years ago. Um, I remember watching a video on is it okay? I think it was Mega Capital G, and is it okay to play Mystic Mine? Or is it okay to play degenerate decks like Chainburn at locals? And the argument that Mega Capital G made was one, if it's in the format and it's not terrible, you should play it. It's not your fault. It's part of the game, right? Same
Yep.
argument for like Jesse
Yep.
Cotton, who made I don't know if you were playing at this time, but it was like YCS Milan a year or two ago.
I
Jesse
definitely.
Cotton made a deck that was an FTK by drawing slash draw. So you would draw slash draw, you would give your opponent a monster,
Dude, I
and
love
then you
Slash
would
Draw.
use Saryuja to put it at the bottom of the deck, and you would do math to figure, and then draw through your entire deck, and do math to figure out that when you activated slash draw, you knew where the other one was in your deck because you put it at the bottom with Saryuja,
Yep.
and then you'd FTK them with exact damage because you'd have so many monsters on board, and you'd pop a monster that you gave them. And the argument that
Wow.
Jesse made, amongst other things, was you guys made it part of the game. I just figured it out. You guys designed the card. It's there. If I didn't figure it out, someone else might have, and I'm not taking the loss for that.
Yep.
That's why slash draw is limited to one, because give it to Jesse Cotton, put 3 of them in the deck, and you can stack it at the bottom with Saryuja, draw the entire deck, and FTK your opponent. Anyway.
Wow.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep,
hey,
yep.
like that same argument exists in a lot of games. You know, the game that I
So that was
play.
argument one, and then argument
Yeah.
two was let's pretend you don't have much money and you want to
Yeah.
play competitive Yu-Gi-Oh. Say you wanted to play
Yeah.
Spiral and you weren't sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. you can pick up 3 Mystic Mine. You can pick up everything in that deck for dirt cheap, and then you can
Yeah.
start saving up credit.
True. You're not
So at the
wrong.
regional level, I don't know. Maybe the
I
argument
do
is I want
agree.
to invite, and I can't invest in a deck that needs an Appaloosa.
Yeah.
But the argument that was made in that video at the time that just struck me was if you want to play meta and you need an extra source of income for Yu-Gi-Oh! And you already have X amount of time invested
Yeah,
in
you need
Yu-Gi-Oh!
a place to
That's the
start.
way to get it.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, like you said, you're not wrong. I think the other argument is something that comes up in a lot of games. The game I play mostly, I guess, during the day, which is Destiny. There's a lot of that discussion. Destiny and Yu-Gi-Oh are like very, very, very similar with the same degenerate strategies. I draw a lot of comparisons when I'm talking about it, but that's a big discussion. There's an attitude that's either like, yeah, you know it's degenerate, you know what you're doing, so like, I guess some people have the opinion of like, oh, honor it and unspoken code, but like realistically, there is no honor code. It's part of the game, and it's what it is. That was designed as part of the game, and if you are playing to win, then you can use what's in the game to
Yep.
win. I guess my point with Mystic Mine is I just don't ever see it going very far other than a stroke of luck or misplays by the other person.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel like it has. And I mean, this doesn't have a lot of merit coming from me, which my deck like literally is a Hail Mary a lot of the time. But it feels like Mystic Mine is very like just luck of the draw. Like,
Yeah.
hey, your opponent didn't see their sides and you win. Or
What do you
like,
mean? You don't need. You just kill them turn 2. You draw 2 Exodia pieces, luck of the draw, and an extra.
yeah, literally. Pull a Yugi anime moment. Stack your
Yeah.
Exodia pieces.
I was like half
Taking
not
the
paying
fact that
attention,
they're-
and then I
What?
heard you say it, and I was like, "Fuck, that would really suck." And then I was like, "It's me. It's me."
Taking the fact that he could have killed you a turn earlier, but he had to wait for extra because it has to be activated first.
If imagine he had reckless greed though and just flips it.
Yeah, that'd be different. I'd be stunned if he was like, "Yeah, trade in, discard level 8, draw 2." And I'd be like, "Wait, no."
Do you guys know the streamer Mango?
Yes.
C9 Mango?
For 99, yeah, C9 Mango. Like 99% sure I was watching. I think it was his stream, and he was playing Legacy of the Duelist when it came out. He was doing the story mode where you actually play like Yugi's deck.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he was doing the Battle City tournament, and if you guys remember that season of Yu-Gi-Oh, Yugi plays some minion that I think has a bunch of fake Exodia cards or has marked Exodia cards in his deck, and obviously those cards aren't limited
Yeah.
in the anime. And so his opponent draws for turn. His opponent goes first, draws his 5 cards, activates Pot of Greed, draws 2 cards, and then it flashes game over because he drew all 5 pieces. And
Yeah.
Mango just starts fucking losing his shit on stream.
That's actually really
like-
common with streamers who play Yu-Gi-Oh games getting Exodia. It's actually like
Yeah.
I've seen so many clips of people that I've watched play Yu-Gi-Oh, like just different,
Yeah,
even
so-
different versions of the game, and just get Exodia, and they're like, "What the heck?"
I was gonna
Yeah.
say that my friend actually had a similar experience where he picked up the Switch game, and I think he was at the same part probably. And I think he did like a little Let's Play thing for something different on his channel, and he has like gameplay of him getting Exodia'd by that guy like 4 times in a row, like literally
So
like
funny.
just draw cards and then just Exodia. And he's like, what the fuck? Too funny.
That's crazy.
That's jokes.
So I have a random bone to pick from like the last thing we were talking about. I know this is like super late, but the
Go
sneak
for it.
peek
I
thing-
was gonna do something super late otherwise, so you go.
Why are they giving out mouse mats?
They don't want to call them
Excuse me?
they don't want to call them field. What are they called?
Game
Play
mats?
mats.
Play
Okay,
mats.
but this is the thing, Dorian. These mouse mats are like coaster sized.
Oh, they're tiny.
Yes, they're
I thought they
not
were just
like
the same
you're
thing.
thinking. You're thinking like a mouse mat. Like, hey, you're
No, I'm
putting on
thinking
your
the
desk when
same
you're
thing.
gaming.
No, I'm thinking the same thing because I've used the Yu-Gi-Oh things as mouse mats before. So
Yeah,
like,
they made it the same
Oh yeah,
material.
like even that. No, even like an actual like game mat or whatever. That's like a good size for a mouse mat if you're like trying to game on it. Like I
Mhm.
mean like play like like FPS games on it. No, this is
Yeah.
like a coaster. This is literally like
Damn, dude. Oh,
Like
it's like
vanilla.
the
smaller
like
than
the
a
little
binder. The last
the
time I
little
saw
baby
one of these.
version.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like what? How do you even call that a mouse mat? Like, why are they doing that? Why are you giving those away?
Dude, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's such
Konami's
weird
done
pricing,
questionable pricing in the past, and they're gonna
right?
continue
Like
to do
that's not
questionable
expensive to
pricing.
print. Come on. I can go get a custom one printed for like nothing. Like you mean to tell me to mass produce that in some way, shape, or form? Like not maybe mass produce it, but like enough. You know,
Yeah.
like that it's you're definitely getting it cheaper to like come on.
Hold up. Speaking of Konami pricing, Mark got the new deck box, right? When he topped,
Yeah, it's
Yes.
fire.
Yes.
did he
It looks
keep it?
pretty nice. Yes, he kept
Yes.
it.
I
Okay.
think
Do
he
you know if
posted
there
it
was
though.
any like people actually wanted it?
Everyone that saw it thought it was sick and wanted it from him, like was fake stealing it. But I don't know if he's gotten any offers, but he definitely posted it.
Okay, because I was just curious. Like the old deck boxes don't sell, so I'm assuming these are gonna do the same. But I was wondering if they had
The only
any
awkward part
demand for
is
them now.
I realized that like the moment I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, they just spent the last year giving away free dice. I'm like, there's nowhere to put those dice in your deck boxes if it's not made by them. Sorry, if it's made by them. So they had to make a box that could fit the dice that they've been throwing at people.
That's jokes.
Yeah.
It looks nice though. I thought it looks nicer than the older ones.
Yeah, it is nicer.
I'm just not a big fan of that size of deck box because it's huge. It's always been huge, and I never understood why they make them so big. But
Yeah, I
I
like
mean,
the
I'm gonna
smaller
still use
ones.
my double, so I don't care.
yeah, absolutely.
I use my nice small one, very compact.
Yeah. True.
Oh, so I saw a meme while we were doing the podcast that I'd like to share because we were talking about Exodia earlier.
Mhm.
But I don't know if any of you follow politics, and same for our viewers. This is Yu-Gi-Oh related, I promise. It's in Zodiac Duelist. Last night, President Donald Trump gave a State of the Union, essentially a very long speech about a lot of things. And at the beginning, he, a Republican, has to give the speech to essentially a lead Democrat. Her name's Nancy Pelosi. And they got mad at each other, took a hissy fit. They didn't shake hands. She didn't say nice things about him that she was supposed to. And at the end of the speech, when he like turns around to walk off stage, she just rips up the script on camera. And
Yep.
somebody in
Jesus.
Zodiac memed it and put Weevil's face or Weevil's glasses over Nancy
Oh,
Pelosi,
no.
and then put Rex's
Yes.
hat on the vice president,
Oh my
and then put
God.
Exodia on the paper. And I'm
Yes.
dying of laughter because that is so smart. And the Photoshop was also like fairly well done.
That's dope.
And
That's
I'm really
fire.
appreciative of that human being right now.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That's sick.
Funny.
I thought this was going an
Yeah.
entirely different way, but yes.
No, I'm not actually talking about politics on here. I talk about Yu-Gi-Oh shit.
No, it's fine.
We gotta give people credit for what they deserve, and that memer, he deserves some credit,
Mhm.
A+.
even though it was
So-
probably stolen.
You were saying earlier, Joe, you were thinking of what did you change between like when you didn't get your invite versus when you did?
Yeah,
You thought of that?
honestly, I don't know what it was because the first two times I got my invite were fairly lucky. Like I put a lot of time.
I feel like I'm realizing that is a lot of I do feel like out of this is my first very very real honest attempt, but second attempt overall at getting an invite or playing with the intention of such, and I feel like I am now realizing that there is a fuckload of luck involved in this.
Yeah, there's a fuckload. That's why guys like the guys doing the regional grind don't always get points, right? Like shit
Yeah.
happens. But
Yeah.
like the first two times I got my invite, I had people give me draws. Sorry, the second time I got the invite, so two people had to give me draws or turn draws into wins. They're like, I don't need the win, you can have it. The first time I had to get insanely lucky and get the 24th invite at X21 on the last regional before Nats. And then
Damn.
this time around, it was just like, all right, I'm prepared. I'm playing a meta deck. Oh, look at that. I'm a table away from topping in the last two rounds. I was like X1 going into the last two rounds. I lost both of the last two rounds at a 64 invite or at a 48 invite, and I got it. And I was like, I don't think I played particularly well. I don't think I got particularly lucky, and I don't think I got particularly unlucky either.
Mm-hmm.
Like this was just super standard, and I don't know what I changed.
Hmm.
What do you mean you don't know what you
Interesting.
changed? Like your
Like
personality?
between because I was playing my personality.
Could be
What?
anything. Deck, personality,
No, I
knowledge.
didn't
I
know
don't
what
know.
you meant specifically.
I had no
Yeah,
idea.
you
Like
changed decks.
yeah, so the first two times I was playing Draco, which maybe is just a more luck-based deck because there was times there I was opening border. There can be only one, and my opponents were opening uh evenly
Garbage. Doesn't
Pankratops.
matter what it is.
But regardless, I don't think maybe I just got better because I was playing a different deck. That could be possible. That's
You
why I was
dedicated a
curious. I was
lot more
like,
time too because you had off time.
I did have more time, but
You're also playing a much better deck. Like now playing Salad, I understand what it's like to play Draco and play a difference in like actual quality deck. I don't think
maybe
you can hand anyone a Salad deck and just show them what to do, and it's like you can do this. Like the meta is built around this. You're not getting hard countered by Draco anymore. So like if someone's playing there can only be one, it's very unlikely you even run into it. Like the fact that Mark's list does not include some kind of bullshit Exceed or Synchro and he still got third is like mind blowing to me. Because
what
it
do you
means
mean?
that like even with Stalio gone, the deck just like goes. Like Mark's a good pilot, obviously.
Yeah, Mark's a great
And
pilot.
and Marcus's list had both the Synchro and the Exceed. And it
You
was
had a
fourth.
synchro?
Yeah, he had the Synchro because he played Resonator.
Mark played Resonator this weekend.
No,
No.
Marcus played. Marcus Curry
Oh,
played.
Marquez. I thought you said
Yeah.
Mark.
No. Mark
Yeah,
didn't play any of them. Mark didn't play
I
either
was
of
about
them.
to say.
Mark
I
didn't
saw
play
his
either of
list. I
them
was like,
and still did great. So that's why I'm like, I just like the deck got hit and it's still
Because if you
fine.
got the right resource management and you like know the inside and outs of that deck, you can just fucking grind. You
Yeah.
can grind so hard with that deck.
that deck has a very high skill ceiling, I'm realizing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, no, I have a
absolutely.
lot of like I don't like I'm not if I had to say a fan of like game mechanics, I'm not too much of a fan of just outright using the same cards over and over and over and over again. Like I don't like that.
Yeah, that's fair.
However, I have a tremendous amount of respect for that deck and the skill it really takes to play it at a high level, simply because it's I think it has such a high ceiling. Like
Falco is very
same.
possibly the best card in that deck.
Yeah, it
And
does so much and does so little at the
if you
same
pick
time.
up that deck, like the first 2 months I played it, I was like, why the hell am I even playing Falco? I never use this damn card. And now I literally send it off a Gazelle all the time.
Mhm.
Yep, it's so relevant. Puts a body on and resets a trap for free. Jesus.
And it hard plays around Nibiru now. Because you just send it off of the Gazelle and then bounce back the Gazelle and proceed to do your combo. And if in Nibiru, you just have Gazelle in hand after.
Yep.
I again I think of that like I mean I think Striker obviously Engage is a very like degenerate card.
That was so
But
dumb.
I have a similar respect between those decks where it's like, sure, an average player can pick it up and, you know, maybe kind of do well with it. But it's like the skill ceiling in those decks is like so insanely high, and to play that deck or those decks at a top
Yeah.
level, like what a really good player can do with those decks is just like astronomically different than what an average player could do.
Less so, certainly by the end, like with Widow Anchor and with multi-roll at one, that deck was
Yeah, oh yeah,
stupidly
that's what I mean.
skillful.
Yeah,
But like
I mean with Widow
there was a
and
quick sec
that
there where
outline.
everything was at three, and it was all right. Whose hand's better?
Yeah.
But
I
then there's
should
like
reiterate. I mean,
Ryan
like
Yu
when
that
once.
goes, oh yeah, Ryan Yu will go, oh yeah, I'm playing he would play Ryan Yu's a phenomenal striker player, right?
Yeah.
Um, and he would tell me stories. He's at locals, and his opponent would open like double engage to his brick hand that had that had the equip spell in it. And he's like, yeah, I just grinded him in a one. And I was like, how? He's like, because I know how to manage my resources better in striker. And that would blow
Yep.
my mind. How do you come back from that? He just did it. And I was
Yep. It's true. It's definitely true.
like,
Like I said, I think that with that deck at like one multi roll and one widow, like it took a lot of skill.
Yeah.
I mean, I try and play heroes. I guess that doesn't.
I
It's a
don't.
skillful
Anyway.
deck. I consider it combo. Like it's like you can't just hand someone that deck and be like, go.
Which deck? What?
Your
Heroes?
deck. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that there's I mean you end on floodgates, like I get it, but I do think that there is a skill gap to
Well,
it,
it's an
and
option, right? Like one of them is. The others are not. Every card does something different. It's so nice to have a variety of an extra deck.
yeah, I mean like I think that the skill I guess in the deck that I play is I mean like many other decks, all because you can doesn't mean you should. And I think that's especially important because I feel like ever since the new cards came out, I've been able to grind like really well, like much better than I ever previously had. Because you don't want to just like, I mean, I guess technically you can just like blow your load on just a really massive field, or you can make like a really good field and have a ton of follow up. And I think that's just more valuable. Like you can make double Dark Claw with like 3 ways of following up on a regular basis,
Hmm.
which is just so much more valuable than like yeah, Dark Law with mass change, with an ab zero, and like a bunch of other stuff. But
The
anyways,
importance of the follow-up play has become so much more evident to me as I've gotten better at the game.
yeah,
Like two
yeah,
years
same.
ago, I would have said, why the hell would you not just put up the extra negate and then you just win?
Yep,
And now I'm realizing like 5 negates as opposed to 6 with a follow-up in hand is so much better.
yep. I'm going like again. I've kind of been like forced to play like that because before I guess like heroes, if you're playing first, which wasn't as popular, but if you're playing going first, yeah, you kind of did just want to like end on like yeah, Dystopia, Dark Law, Plasma, or like Dark Law, Dystopia, or like whatever insane boards you can like go for with like if you draw the nuts. But with Nibiru, like, and not having any recurable or very, very, very little recurable resources in the deck, like, you really have to, um, I don't know, you really have to be careful with like your follow up. Like, you don't want to burn through your Mallees, and you don't want to use that Fusion Destiny when you don't need to, or Miracle Fusion when you don't need to. Like, you need to like make a good board and like assume you're gonna get Nibiru'd, and then you can play. Like
Yeah.
I that card's forced me to understand the skill, and what you said is like making sure you always have follow up. And I feel like I've been a better player since. So
So speaking of follow up, I'm gonna end the podcast here.
What a great follow-up.
Yeah. No, I want follow up for the next one, right? So we gotta put up enough. You gotta put up enough here, and then we have more for the next one.
Okay. See you guys.
Shouts
we'll talk after this Saturday.
after this Saturday. Yes, this Saturday
Yep.
there's a exclusive tournament where prizing is really really good, and next week I want to talk about prizing.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
We'll talk about
Yeah,
our experiences this weekend.
yeah. Shouts out to everyone that listens. Shouts out to everyone that watches. Subscribe for more quality content. Like the video if you want more podcasts. The more you guys watch it, the more we'll do. Go watch all the deck profiles that came out recently. Mark's, Drew's probably by now. Mine, maybe. I don't know. If you want to play a really bad Grandmaster deck, then you can watch mine. But I think it's funny. I filmed it in a funny way. Um, but yeah. Anyone else want to say anything important?
Nope.
No.
I think we're good. We covered a lot.
All right. All right, guys.
Okay,
See you
bye
next
bye,
time.
friends.
Take care.